Nintendo knew how to develop the best games for their Wii console, and smaller developers were sort of forgotten about. That's where I come in. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games. And today I dig down deep to find some true Wii hidden gems.
Second Opinion Games.
Cruisin'! Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This game gets a 25 Metacritic score, and it's really just a near-perfect arcade conversion of the Cruisin' game that would be in the arcade. However, this time you could use the Wiimote to turn it side to side, or use the D-pad to turn. Now, this is not a simulation game by any means. This is meant for novices to pick up and have a great time with it. And the more time you put in, the more you're going to enjoy it, just like I have. After about an hour, I was absolutely loving this game, and most people just thought it was total trash. Also, I kind of love 2D sprites mixed into a 3D world, especially if they're just hot chicks in bikinis. And if you come in first place in a race, well, then you receive your prize. And also a trophy. Pirates Plunder is the perfect game for all you beat-em-up fans out there, and even if you don't have some friends, you're still going to have a good time with this one because of its carefully designed levels, which scale up in difficulty the more people that jump in to play the game. Also, there's weapons that you could upgrade each individual one, or maybe put all of your eggs in one basket and only get one capped out. Of course, that probably means that you're never going to see that one ever again in the game, which might leave you frustrated. So instead, upgrade everything evenly as you play, and you'll be sure to have a great time. Also, the characters here are just awesome. Who doesn't love pirates? Pirates vs. Ninja Dodgeball. Well, it's not just pirates and ninjas here. Sometimes there could be zombies or monsters to even fight. And if you ever played a dodgeball video game before, well, it's essentially all the same. Well, the only difference here is that you have to waggle the Wiimote in order to throw the ball. So it is a very generic experience. However, it also means it's a very cheap one, and this game can be found in pretty much any bargain bin for about $2 or less. The Munchables also has some pirates. Of course, this time they look like vegetables because this game's all about eating everything in sight in order to get bigger and stronger to eat more stuff. If your level's below what you want to eat, well then all you have to do is run into it with a spinball attack, sort of like Sonic the Hedgehog, break it apart into smaller little things, and then eat it till you can get big enough to eat it in one bite. And you think this game would start off slow and then get really crazy, but no, it starts off slow and then quickly escalates to, oh my god, what the heck is going on? This is one that everyone should be playing, and is sadly one of the most forgotten about games for the system. But maybe you like a game with just a little bit more patience. Well, then you should try it. Vertigo, it's another almost Super Monkey Ball style game where you have to use the motion controls to move the ball around and also hit the A button to boost your speed up so you can get to the finish line before the timer runs out. What stands this game apart from the other games like it? That your ball doesn't really seem that it has the weight that other games do with their balls, so you can kind of do tricks that you wouldn't normally be able to do. It also means that this game is far more controllable than other ones like its type. The environments vary, and every single time you play through the game, you could choose a different route, which means that it's different nearly every time you play it, unless you picked all the routes, in which case, then you would be a total master of this. Because of its tight controls, you never really feel let down about dying, because you know it's all your fault. And tight controls aren't really something that happens in a game this generic. But I get it, it's not violent enough for you. That's where Manhunt 2 comes in. This is one of those games where you just try to kill everyone in sight. Of course, it does have a story. You escape from an sanitarium, which your guy is clearly insane, and you also have to sneak through several environments, because this is at its heart a stealth-based game. However, it's all about the weapons here too, and killing your opponents in very violent ways. But of course, Nintendo probably didn't like that very much, so they made the screen go really blurry every time you tried to get creative to kill people, so most people took a total pass on the game and picked it up for the Xbox 360. But if you didn't have that console, then this game would be totally serviceable for anyone who likes to kill people using motion controls. TV Show King feels like the polar opposite of Manhunt 2, in which case this is a family-friendly trivia game where you play just a couple rounds and you try to earn money by answering trivia questions. Unfortunately, they never read the questions to you, so this is only for those people that are really good at reading and happen to really know stupid trivia, in which case that's what this game does best. It has some of the most stupid trivia I've ever seen, and I really love the fact that I could test my knowledge against people that don't really seem to have a clue of what's going on in the entire world. If you're even just playing with a computer, they can usually get these questions right sometimes, which means that you could pick the same answers as they do and pretty much work your way through the entire game. There's also a Wheel of Fortune style thing where you can either gain or lose money. If you're in last place, it doesn't harm you to try it, or if you're winning, you probably want to stay the heck away from that wheel because it will always screw you over. And then if you make it to the very end, there's a couple of quick questions and you try to see if you're the TV Show King. Brilliant. Keeping with the TV show theme, we have Dragon Ball: The Revenge of King Pokio. I'm really not that big into Naruto or Dragon Ball or whatever the heck this is, but what I do know is that this is a great beat-em-up game. It's also speed-based, which means you have to tap the buttons really fast, and you think the controls might be a little bit off in this game at first, but that's till you realize you can plug in your favorite GameCube controller and play through the entire event, which means zero waggle controls whatsoever, and it actually has a challenge after you start breezing through the first couple levels. There's also collectathon stuff everywhere in this game, and I really dig the graphics. I also like how it feels like a GameCube game, and I mean that in the very best possible way. Spider-Man: The Edge of Time also feels like it was ripped right out of a 90s Saturday morning cartoon, because I think they got the voice actor that played in the 90s cartoon in this game. At the very least, it sounds just like him. Also, the controls are so smooth. I could not believe the Wiimote was able to make Spider-Man game actually play right, because you'll be able to swing all over everything, crawl up walls, and beat up hordes of robots. Also, you play in the future and in the past here, and things will actually change and move around depending on how you do when you're playing the game. And there's tons of different power-ups to unlock as well. The story here is actually better than most Spider-Man movie stories. So if you're really into Spider-Man, why haven't you played this game yet? Is it because it's on the Wii? Because you shouldn't let that deter you. This is seriously one of the best Spider-Man experiences ever. Why I'm going full fanboy, I might as well play a little Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, because this game makes you actually feel like a Jedi Knight, or in this case, a Sith Lord, because first of all, you can play as Darth Vader. That is pretty freaking amazing, at least for the first level, and then you take over as this young child who grows up to be a total badass. Using Force powers here actually feels like Force powers, because you're moving your hands all over the place, throwing Wookiees left and right, and same with the guys. And it really doesn't matter who you kill, because your guy hates everyone. If you want to take on the Imperials, you want to kill them. If you want to take on the Rebels, you gotta kill them. Just kill everyone. Most people stuck with the Xbox 360 version, but both of them are worth a full playthrough just because of how cool the experience is. They probably should have made a movie based off this game rather than all the other Star Wars movies that were freaking awful. Of course, now that we're on movies, check out Attack of the Movies 3D, where you can play through different scenarios in a light gun shooter game, where it could either be played in 2D or with the red and blue glasses to make it 3D, which no one really has those glasses, so play in 2D. Also, this one did come out for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, but trying to play with a controller is garbage, in which case the Wii version is actually better than those other two versions of the game. Unfortunately, the graphics took a big decrease, but I'm okay with that because the controls are spot on and you can have up to 4 people shooting with you. Which means that, again, it pays to have friends, which sadly, I still don't. Another movie-ish style game is Back to the Future by Telltale Games. Now, this is a point-and-click adventure where you can make your own decisions, and at first I thought we were just playing through the movies, but then I noticed that things went in a whole new direction. No, this takes place entirely after the movies, and it's 5 episodes long. And it does a great job of capturing all the charm that the original characters have, and also lets you know what happened to Doc Brown after he disappeared off the face of the earth. This is a must play for all Back to the Future fans out there, or at least watch a walkthrough on YouTube. If puzzle games are more your speed, then Rooms is right up your alley. It's a game where you have to move rooms around in a block sliding thing, and then you have to use ladders and telephones and wardrobes to teleport yourself from place to place, and then find the exit and make it to another room where another puzzle is presented to you. And this game is completely full of charm. I'm not sure if my main guy here is digitally animated into the game or if it's just straight up CGI. Either way, I completely love the art style here. It sort of feels a little bit like Harry Potter mixed in with a little bit of Doctor Who. And these puzzles are devious and make me feel like a genius when I beat them. And finally, we have Flip's Twisted World. This is a 3D style game where you could flip the entire environment on its end. Now, yes, this was a total generic game, which means it's filled with little tiny glitches, and it's missing some sound effects. But if you could get past the minor things that it does wrong, what it does right is have huge environments that are really fun to try and figure out, because the whole thing feels like a puzzle and also sort of feels like a Mario-style game where you have to beat up all the enemies. Heck, even the boss battles are puzzles in themselves, and this game is flipping awesome. I love being able to walk up walls and move things around. However, if you fall from too big of a height, of course you're gonna die. And that's probably the most frustrating thing about this game, other than the fact that no one else knows about it, just like the rest of these games. So now that you know about them, maybe you should pick them up and give them a try. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it because playing the Wii is one of my favorite things to do, and most people don't know that its lineup of games is beyond that just Nintendo made. For the love of God, get outside of your comfort zone and play some of these immediately. You owe it to yourself. So if you have a favorite Wii game that you want to let me know about, let me know in the comments down below, and until later, I will see you again, guys.
Bye, boys.